This is Newcap News with Lauren Poland.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A huge step forward for seniors housing in Lloydminster today with the ribbon cutting of 2 new Metis housing complexes. And it was quite the gathering with new residents, members of the Lloydminster Metis Housing Corporation, local MPs, MLAs, and the mayor all on hand for the event. The new complexes offer 16 self-contained suites with all the bells and whistles, a common area, heated floors, dishwashers, washers and dryers, and a walk-in tub for easy access. And it's all on one floor, which means no hazardous stairs.
There's a tremendous housing crunch and a shortage of housing primarily for our seniors, and they don't have a lot of alternatives, and this is one that will allow them to remain independent and benefit our whole community.
And it's a steal of a deal for seniors with all bills, including cable, for the low price of $405 a month, meaning low-income seniors have an affordable option to stay in the community. But these suites are still in high demand, with a waiting list double the amount of properties available.
It's a cultural thing as well with Métis people to have our community and our elders and to keep them safe and close by and to provide for them.
And now that the ribbon has officially been cut for phase 2 and 3, it's on to phase 4, which is an entirely new seniors housing complex. But that project is still in its infancy stages. A handful of staff from the Lloydminster Men's Shelter recently made a trip to Edmonton, touring facilities similar to what we have here, with the end goal of strengthening their abilities to help men struggling in our community.
We are, in some way, a little bit of each one of those shelters, all in one here in Lloydminster. Because of the size of our community, we don't have the resources to provide a wet shelter, a youth shelter, etc. at this time.
Being a nonprofit organization, the recent trip wouldn't have been possible without outside help.
We received a grant from Devon, Canada, for which we thank them very much, which gave us the opportunity to do some further educating of staff.
And allowing the team to see how 9 uniquely different shelters operate.
To me, it was very important because some of them, in particular Gun Center, we refer people. For example, individuals who've gone through maybe detox and recovery, but who need some further help.
We were able to see that having activities for them is very, very important. Not just putting people in housing, not just scooching them out the door, not just giving them a place to lay their head. We needed to give them a little bit more than that.
Going forward, they hope to have a wet shelter up and running by next winter for those unable to stay sober. Motivation and inspiration was the highlight of the Call Luncheon held at the Wayside Inn today. Carrie McCullough tells us how a special guest speaker shared his stories and tips to create lasting relationships in both our professional and personal lives.
Border City residents gathered in the Crown Ballroom for lunch and some very important life advice from a man who hopes to make a difference through his experiences.
It's just something that I've really thought about over the last few years. In my business, it's very relational based, and I really thought, what does that mean? And while I had very positive business relationships, my personal relationships weren't always that positive. And that's something that I've grown through over the last few years myself, and I want to share that with others.
One of the key words that Mike uses in his speech is change.
I want people to realize that no matter what position they're in today, no matter what the state of their relationships are, that they have the ability to change. And change is available to all of us. And it starts with our attitude. And with the right attitude, we can have the positive relationships we're all looking for.
The message was received and attendees were very impressed.
I thought it was excellent. I think the couple of points that he brought up, specifically about relationships, and oftentimes I think we spend a lot of time, effort on things that probably don't matter so much. Maybe they do in the moment, but you get 5 or 10 years down the road and you look back and maybe think it wasn't quite so important as what it was at the time.
Mike was happy to bring his message to the border city, and being the national sales manager of a company that works in the trucking industry, he finds the city very fitting.
Lloydminster has more trucking than anywhere in North America per capita, so, I should have been here a long time ago. Great to be here. Love to see new places and new faces, and I thank everyone for coming out.
Carrie McCullough, Newcap News.
Gym time was extra long today at one local elementary school, all for a good cause. Bart Pediasic tells us why.
Winston Churchill School was a site of Jump Rope for Hope, a fundraising project that gives it a Heart and Stroke Foundation. The school has been doing this event for over 15 years and likes to get all of its students involved.
And students go around the community canvassing and fundraising for Heart and Stroke, and our total number of dollars will be determined or figured out on Monday, and we'll hopefully have a very exciting number.
Now this may seem like just fun and games, but for these kids, they all know it's for a good cause.
And so that's basically why we're doing all this and getting our hearts active and raising money for that foundation so we can see if we can find a cure for it.
The school hopes to raise $10,000 by the end of the campaign. Bart Pediasic, Newcap News.
Troy joins us now with our first look at weather, and it was super sunny, but along with that sun was quite a bit of wind. I was outside a lot today, and I'm surprised my hair is still even close to intact.
Oh, your hair is intact. No worries at all. But you're right, yeah, it was pretty getting up to the 60 kilometer per hour range, west, northwest mainly. But we got a lovely weekend ahead of us, so let's look forward to that. Let's see what we're dealing with here. 14 in our area, 15 in the Battlefronts, a bit more cloud cover in Cold Lake and area, and those winds gusting for the better part of the day. Blue skies and, well, some clouds too, yes, but mainly sunny day. Some more clouds in Cold Lake and area for their 15, 16 in the Battlefronts in this hour. Details of the lovely weekend that's coming a little later in the cast.
Coming up, a famous children's singer shows his softer side. That story after the break.